Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today finally we're going to get real and we'll start loading our data dynamically using API endpoints. So up to our last video, we were able to create a very static Next.js application. We got our routing working, we got our ability to load assets working, and even we went through dynamic routing, how we can create them. Okay, so today what we'll do, we'll start getting into load fetching or loading our data using API. So I will use today API for REST countries, and I'll put the link in my description section for you guys to use. So what I will do, I will use this all API call. So if I copy and paste this one in my browser, you can see here I have a JSON file or a JSON object, and that we'll be using in our application. However, I don't want just to copy and paste that in my application and use it as a mock data, but I want to actually fetch it using an API call. So how we do that in Next.js? So Next.js gives us a very special function that we use here, and it's called getStaticProps. So we do export const, and I will say get static props, and it is an async function. So how this function works, or when it works. So this function works and runs in the build time. It runs much before our content is loaded in the browser, and that is what we need for, right? So before we load our content in the browser, we need our API call to be made already, and the data is fetched already, and our component is reading that data so it already before it can render our UI in the browser, right? So what we do here, we can say create a constant that hold our response, and I'll say await, because it's a async function, fetch, and I will copy and paste my URL. Okay, so this is one will give us a response. Then we want to transform this our response to actual JSON object. So we'll say const data equal await, because it's async function as well, and I will say my response dot JSON. Then, okay, we got our API done, call, we get our data back. Then how my component will read or access this data? The way you can do it, you can return it as a prop. Return, I'll say for my props, I want to have a prop property. I'll call it countries. You can call it anything you want. I'll pass it my data. Okay, and then what I will do, I come to my component. I will say, okay, in my props I have something called countries, and for now let's just cancel log it, countries, and it's refreshing, and I can see here in my terminal as well is logging that for me, and also here in my console log. So we have 250 countries. Nice. Now we have discussed with Java very static how we can get them to read this data. So what we can do is that we just go here and map through my array. I'll say countries dot map. I'll have a country object which will return me this component here. Okay, so now the country name, and this will not be static anymore. I'll remove all these, so it's giving me all that number, but it's all static, right? Let's remove all this, we don't need them anymore. And what I will do, I'll just read my objects. I'll just copy paste for you guys this. So we have the name is coming from country, and I'll open one object so you can guys see it. So we have here a name dot common, that will be my name. Then my region is country dot region here, and then we have the capital, so it's here, and then we have population, which is also somewhere here. And then the flag. So the flag, if it have a flags array with the links where they exist. So I'm using SVG. You can use PNG if you want to, but I prefer SVG for better quality. And then if you remember, in my country card, it doesn't have the flag property. So see here, it's still giving Australian flag because that was my default one, but all other data is dynamic now. So I will go here, I'll add a prop called flag, and I'll say my image will come from that flag. Okay, so even the alt, it should be dynamic now. So I will do this. Let's say it will be combination of my country name space flag. Okay, so what happened here? I need a space. Oh, and actually I need to close this. Okay, so now to give me another error. So the error was because the image from where I'm bringing it, it's not in my config file of Next.js, so it doesn't really recognize it and think it is some issue happening. So I need to go back to my config Next.js, and I already added and commented. So add this settings. So I say, okay, images, I have a remote pattern, then I put the host name. Same here, flag name, flagcdn.com, and also later I found another host name, so I added there as well. So I save it. I have to stop my dev tool and run it again, my command, so I can pick up my new configuration. So npm run dev. There it is coming and it's trying to reload, and there it is. Now it's working. All my flags are coming through. So our next step, again, we'll try to use again data fetching, but in another page. As per our design, when we click, no, I can't click these ones. When I click a card, I want to open a new page. If you remember, created, I think, country. Yeah, here, but doesn't have any design. So we need to be able to fetch data about that country with more details on this screen. Okay, so stay tuned and hit the bell icon and subscribe so you can go and get notification when I push my next video. And if you have any questions, please add it down in the comment section, or if any suggestion or something you want to learn more about, just add this in the comment section and I will try to answer and come up with more videos that can help you guys in what you need.